share of, you know, what he's been doing, who he is, and what the projects basically mean. And we love that kind of articulation. So thank you for that.
Thank
and
you.
also we had asked you our question of the day. So are you curious to know what it takes to be a Grammy-winning engineer? Curious to know what it takes to be a Grammy-winning engineer? Well, ask Trevor your burning questions. And our handles are right there on your screens. We have at K24 on Facebook, our handle on X at K24TV, and of course our WhatsApp line right there on your screens. And we'll be very happy to, of course, engage with you. Read a couple of your responses or questions on what you have to ask Trevor. But otherwise, like I mentioned, thank you so much for staying with us this far. Right, so just during the break, you said something very phenomenal, which is, I can imagine you've been in situations, but then you'll still sing. I've not forgotten. You're still going to sing, but we'll circle back to that. You've been in situations which are very life-changing for many people, for artists and yourself, where you're producing them. You can see raw emotions, raw feelings, just very authentic things. And you said it's very hard for some of them, or artists, or even yourself. I think you had to learn to remove yourself from the situation and come back to reality, because reality is not in a vacuum. It keeps on evolving. So just give us a scenario. How are you able to be that, I don't know, grounded, let me say? Yeah.
So it's so interesting, because you're talking about this, and every time you keep introducing me, you keep reminding me that I'm a Grammy-winning engineer.
You are a Grammy-winning engineer. You better own that.
Interestingly enough, I honestly don't even think about it, because I think if that would be my thing through and through, I would really be stuck in that. I'm the one, you know. I'm the chosen one.
Yes.
But
you don't feel like it sometimes?
Well, yes and no. I guess it depends with who you are with in the room. Sometimes you have to bring it out.
You have to flex.
Yeah, so that whoever is there calms down a little bit.
Yes. I mean, you're on a whole recording academy, you know, website like it's you're on the portfolio. That's really a big thing. You know, not many people can say that. You know, you're there with, like, you know, Lupita and company.
Yeah.
And others.
We're trying.
Yeah. But anyway, tell me about what you think. The perspective of when I asked you.
Right. So I think the reason as to why I'm able to do that is just, I guess, values that I just learned from my childhood, and the things that my dad, I'd say, taught me to do. It's just learning to be true to yourself, because you're not always going to be in the same situation forever. You have to kind of like figure out, okay, this is not working. It's kind of like you have to fail for you to be successful, right? You have to keep trying this, it's not working. So you can't keep trying the same thing, failing, and you still do the same thing in this exact same way. So it's just that same principle that I apply in everything that I do to kind of like take myself to the next level. When I try something, it doesn't work, do something different, or attack it in a different perspective, right? It's all about perspective, changing the perspective and adapting to.
But I can imagine, like, you see, that's a solo thing. But like you said, when you work with artists, they're sometimes not able to move away from the moment, because they just want the heat, you know, of the time, and that kind of, you know, glamour and spotlight that is on them, right? So how are you in the space with that? Like, how do you usually? How do
I handle the situation? It's not easy, I'll say. Yeah, you have to learn how to manage people differently, because it's, interestingly enough, artists are like kids, right? You have to kind of like hold their hand and tell them, maze iya work, ebu tujaribu hii direction, right? Because then ukiwacha kwa hiyo space again, being artist now, wanataka hiyo glamour, wanataka kushinda kwa hiyo space, you will not move. They'll also block you creatively. So you see that thing also, it just directly transfers to you.
It ricochets to you.
Kabisa, completely. So you have to remove yourself from that situation, be like, apana, relax. So it's dependent with the person you're working with. Yeah. And there are days where you find an artist who is extremely emotional, who is akona like too many insecurities about, mazi unafeel aje about this song. Unaona, they will come to you like that. And if you don't give them that feeling of, bro, uko sawa, they will keep being in that space, and then it will just dampen the mood. So you need to keep psyching them up and building them up There are guys who just are full of energy. So sometimes the energy is too much. You have to just like
tell them to chill out.
Relax. Ni hit ni banga iko sawa, relax. So it's dependent with the person you're working with, I'd say.
Right. So when you're working also with international and local artists, I can imagine, is the difference much or is it a bit different because of very many factors, right? Is it that they understand things in a different way from the way our artists do, or is this a universal language, you know?
I honestly, music is an international language, obviously, but then all of these things still stem out to people are all different. The same way I'll work with you is not the same way I'll work with Okello Max. It's not the same way I'll work with Savara. It's not the same way. But the interesting thing that, okay, from my experience that I've learned is I actually, this is my opinion, I actually think that most of the African producers, they work harder. From my experience, we work for days. Because these other guys, once they've made a name for themselves, it's just like now the referrals are just coming in. But like in the Kenyan, I'd say, space, it's a lot harder because now you constantly need to keep proving yourself, right? So lazima work like 10 times as hard to be able to still retain that I am that person.
So when we, just going back to this point before I go back to the next. So part of your work as an engineer, mixing and mastering producer, and all that, is to basically understand the psyche of an artist. Like are you almost a therapist?
In a way, I'd say. Yeah, I'd say in a way.
You are?
Yeah, you definitely need to understand the person you're working with. Some artists, especially in recording processes, because now I do a lot of the recording as well, you find the beat has been created. Sometimes an artist will come with the beat and be like, okay, what do you think about this? I wrote about this. This is how I feel. They will sing the song before they get on the microphone. Then I'd be like, I feel maybe let's change the melody after this number of bars, because it's like 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 bars. Because once you start listening to music, again, I told you, it's the first 5 to 10 seconds. When you're listening to a new song, utasikia hizo melodies za kwanza ama the first like rhythm when the song starts to know if you're going to play the song, especially if it's a song that you've never heard before.
I see.
You'll find yourself on the radio next. Ayo song Bambi next.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So you have to know how to get.
So there's actually psychology on that, like you guys know. Even the radio DJs know when to skip.
They have to study. Now for DJs now they have to study the crowd, right? When the crowd is looking like it's dampening, then they have to switch up to a song that is, like an oldie or like a good, banger. Yeah,
another banger.
Another banger that will get the audience, jumping and excited. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely need to know a couple of things. Yeah.
Right. So going back to the African Giant Burna Boy, album. So you're one of the sound engineers among others. So there's a plethora of the way different engineers, let me say, mix and master, music and stuff. So how was that in that process? Because I'm imagining you had to do this particular song and then maybe connect with the Nigerian guys, the Burna's people, production and other people. So how was that? I think he was also working with an American company, was it? In that whole mix, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, the guy who was working is a friend of mine, again, like I say, it is called Jesse. And luckily, with the current times, you can do anything from anywhere. So basically, there's this application called Audio Movers, and there's another one called Session. There's a bunch of applications that you can use to stream music in real time. So you see how like we're on live TV right now. I can be producing here right now and have someone else in, let's say in Texas, listening to what I'm doing in real time and be able to record on top of that beat in real time.
Got you.
So that's basically how we would do everything. So it would be on like an Audio Movers application where a bunch of different people connected. You can connect it even on your phone. So even as the artist is like traveling, they can be listening to what you're doing in real time, and then they can write notes. That's the cool thing about like the Said app. You can go to this section of the song and be like, can you please add the snare on this beat? Or can you please make the bass a little bit more over here, so that the feeling, so it's like everybody's contributing in real time as well. Right? So yeah, that's how we're able to
I see. So it's just basically, it doesn't matter you know, the boundaries. It's just a whole connected thing, and all of you are together in real time at the same time, making the same album. That's what it is. So what was their reaction when they also found out that they were on an award-winning, Grammy award-winning album?
Oh, who exactly?
Was it? Were you the only engineer
in Kenya?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, in Africa.
Yeah, as far as I know, yes. Yeah, because the other guys did the production.
Kunya coffee. Like that's how, you know, like. And I didn't even have that kind of information.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations times two.
Thank you so much.
In Africa, that's major.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the other guy who did it lives in the States. I can't remember where.
So in a whole continent, Trevor Magak, that's dope. That's fire.
I was part of the African giant.
You're part of the African giant, the major one. Right. So let's take a look at one of the prolific moments that you've had when you were basically just doing this work. Like one of those moments from the past or the present that you are in a studio session and you felt like, man, my life has changed today. Like you felt like it was those defining moments that changed you in a way. And you also wouldn't want to let it go.
Yeah, I'm a very interesting human being. I guess maybe it's because of my star sign. If people believe in star signs, I'm a Scorpio. I tend to.
Oh my God,
once we move on. We've gone.
Yeah.
So,
but what's that one defining moment, if you have?
I'd say I'd have a bunch, because again with Sauti, interestingly enough, when they were doing their Live and Die in Africa tour, I was still in school. And my dad was like, you are not going for that show. So it was pretty sad for me. But then later on, of course, after I ended up working with them, after we finished doing the Midnight Train, there's a time we did like the live experience of the Midnight Train. It should be on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So the first night we were watching it, that time I was like, geez, it's real. I actually cried. That one, I did a black man cry type of thing, because I couldn't believe, because this whole time I've just been working. And you see, when you're working, you don't tend to think about these things. Like even right now, I'm doing so many things, I just move.
The next one.
Yeah, the next one. So yeah, I think that is one of those moments. I'd say definitely the banner one. That whole time was a blast. I mean, many others, as well as just Lomax getting to where he is right now, because I've been with him for so long. He's been my friend, like from singing in the same band, and then now him just being who he is, and people loving him, and him being a ladies' man. It's amazing to watch, because you see, when for instance, like when I'm with you right now, I'm just like, only Rema too. This is my guy. Yeah, I know. But then when you go on stage, you see this guy and you see how the crowd is going crazy. You're like,
do I really know this person?
Do I know this person? It feels like that to me with all of these guys, from Bensoul to Max to Akina Bien. Because when we're at home, it's just
this normal
people chilling. It's like you have siblings in the house. It's not different until you go on stage. Then that's when you realize
the star power.
We're actually not the same. So
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And what also, one in the same breath, one of the moments that you are not really quite happy about, let's say, have you had any of those in your career?
A lot. Yeah, I mean, life takes a number on you with different things, you know. Again, it's learning how to adapt and moving from past the situation. Yeah. Can I even remember most
from
of
the
it?
Many, from the a lot?
From the ziko mingi. Sana. It's a dark path.
Okay.
It's an abyss. I don't want to go there.
Interesting. Okay then. So you're doing all this. You're working overtime, right? You told me earlier that you sleep even, like you work from, let's say, the following day, the previous day.
Yeah.
From what time?
Well,
give us an example.
Just sometimes our sessions start in the afternoon. Most
afternoon, what time?
Like around 12. We say 12. But everybody's going to show up past 12. So 1, 2, 3.
I see.
That's when all the artists are going to show up. When you say 12, you just put 2 hours.
Or 3 hours.
Or 3 hours, because that's when they're ideally going to show. That's when you'll have everybody in the room.
Gotcha.
And then that's when you start working. Before we exactly start working, Kumbuka, that's about lunch hour. So guys are hungry. A hungry artist is a very cranky artist. So just remember to feed everybody first before you start working. So we do that and then start jamming, start listening to different songs that are trending. You'll find like someone will play someone they've been listening to recently, because different times bring out different personalities in human beings, right?
I see.
So like right now, if I ask you what's your playlist, like what are you listening to? That's kind of like how we decide.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the frequency this person is in.
Yeah.
So let's use the space that you're in instead of going
to find
other things.
Foreign.
Yeah.
I see.
So
I'm assuming that's now from, let's say 2, 3 in the afternoon to maybe 7 a.m. the next morning, like you mentioned, and then you leave. So that's a whole lot that you've taken in, and any human being, that's a mental load, and you have to take care of your mental health.
True.
You know, so we're not assuming here, Trevor, that you're 100. we're saying that sometimes you're not 100. You know, so how do you take care, especially for engineers out there? You know, what would you advise? Like, how do you take care of your mental health?
It works differently for all of us. The things I can't say on live TV, but like everyone has their way of doing the thing. So for me, I'd say in as much as I work from that time till the next morning, I have like breaks in between. So like, for instance, if I won't do the whole session by myself, I'll have like another producer coming in who will probably create the beat, then I'll do the recording, then finish with the mixes. So like even currently right now, we're doing Bien's album for next year, Safara's album as well. So you'll find... You
heard it first from Trevor. Oh my God.
So there's an amazing producer called Hendrik Sam. He's the one who has done Extra Pressure and makes also Chamthum. He's a brilliant musician. Level your musicality is top tier. Yeah, he's really amazing. So yeah, there's him, there's So Fresh. Now him, I work with both of them really closely. So we've kind of like created a system where I'll start with an idea, then they pick it up because that's what they do on a daily, and then now I'll finish it up. Or they will start and then we kind of like keep switching, so it becomes a really easily functioning system where they'll do the production, I will handle the recording, I will take a break from the music, then come back and mix it later on, because you need to give yourself space from the music to come back and listen to it again, to know, was this it, or was I just in the high of, geez, this song is amazing.
I see.
That's what we do a lot of the times. You have to separate yourself from the music and not be a musician, because as a musician we tend to make music for ourselves sometimes. So we need to remove ourselves from it, become the audience. Be like, if I did listen to this song for like 3 weeks and listen to it after 3 weeks, would I jump to it as an audience, right? So that's how we kind of like figure out, maybe this line is not working, maybe we need to change this part, maybe we just need to scratch this whole song. Yeah. I'll tell you, for instance, something like when we were doing Susanna, the first version of Susanna was about 6 minutes.
Wow. That's a long song.
And it was mostly live. And then Bien was like, there's no way we can have a 6 minute. It's too long. It's not like those old, rumba vibes where it's 20 minutes and it's just the same song playing.
It's true.
So we had to cut it down.
Like Franco and others.
Exactly, yeah. So we had to cut it down to, I think it's about 3 or 4 minutes right now.
I see.
But it used to be a really, really long song.
We have
the version you probably have like the 10th version of the song from what the first version was. Yeah. I
see.
Yeah.
And do you ever get to a place where this becomes tiring for you? This becomes a bit too much. You want some. Have you ever gotten there at any point?
Yeah, of course. It's like every other office. There's also those days where it's just like, do I have to do this? It's so draining. It's taxing, honestly, especially again being in this side of the country. Sorry, I'm not throwing shade on my country. It is what it is. But like, lazima you have to constantly be working, and it's inachosha. Like for me, even this past week, I've been so exhausted. The worst part is every time I tell myself, even today I was like, namaliza isho rimi, naenda kulala.
Yeah. There's no
I can where I'm sitting here, I can hear my phone buzz. So I already know. I already know that's problems. That's work.
And how do you balance your friends, family, if you have your a better half or, you know, a relationship for that. How do you balance all that, given the way you are so busy?
That's honestly, I thank God that I have someone who is in the same space with me, because I don't think I would be able to, I would lose it completely. I'd say better half is able to give me that peace of mind, because I need it every day.
I see.
I actually need it every day, because working with, you know, it's like going to mix with many other different people, then you just have to come to that one person.
And a lot of energies, like, you know,
exactly,
people are, like you said, moody, happy. Most days someone is just feeling cranky, so they will come to the studio and their vibes are just not on. So it's a lot. It's actually a lot of feelings that you have to take in, and then come back and be like, tell this person, yo, hey, this day has been long. It's been like this, like this, like this. So I'm actually, I'd say, very lucky to be with someone who is very, you know, very much in the same space with me. Differently, maybe not musically, but just she's in the same space in the sense that she does production. And I see.
Yeah. So we understand each other, especially with my timelines. When we say we're spending time together, turn off the phones. Bye world. That's what we do.
Way.
Yeah, it's like this is our time.
Okay.
Because after that we just know everyone is going about
and economically, for example, you're in a creative space, and, and there's a lot, of course, more than the other positive part on the remuneration, right? So some people will be like, dude, I'm not getting paid here. Like you said, sometimes it's hard to be a creative on this side of the Sahara. You know, it's just not the easiest thing, especially with the complaints from artists, not getting revenues, you know, copyright, just a whole lot of stuff. So how do you do it so that you're comfortable, given you're who you are? You know, and in the past we've also had artists who have done tremendous work that but are not recognized. You know, especially home. You know, they go out and they blow up. You know.
I hear you. I'd say it really is just with, again, knowing the person you're working with as well. Because with different people, I don't. Interestingly enough, where I am right now, I do a lot more passion projects than, you know, like actual paying projects, right? So in as much as I do paying projects, that like those ones I do, I'm just like, those are people who've already created a boundary and an understanding that this is exactly how I want my things done. So you either do it or I move on with whatever I'm doing. And the best part about doing a passion project is you get to do it in your terms. The person you're working with, as long as you have a great understanding with, it becomes easy. You don't have to wake up and be like, nilipa.
Yeah.
Because if you think about doing that with every other artist you're working with, it's too tiring.
It's almost not having
taxing
business, is it?
At all. Yeah.
I see.
So
you have the threshold of the clients, or let me say,
exactly,
who pay you, and you charge them a particular amount, and then now you have the others where you give yourself leeway to.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's kind of like building them, because I know sometimes it's not about the money right now. It's about the value add that you get from this artist being able to get to that space where they'll be now able to pay you. So that's what you kind of like build from looking at potential, right? You look at these guys, you're like, just give them 2-3 years. It sounds like a long time. Music-wise, it's a very short time.
No, for real, I understand. I see
so
that.
you kind of like look at these guys and be like, okay, these guys have potential. I will stick with them, build with them. They get to a point where they actually pay you, and they actually do it.
I see.
Yeah,
so
and you build friendship. Because you see, first, before I decide to do a passion project, I have to be friends with somebody. I have to know you. I have to be able to be comfortable to tell you, I feel like maybe this, and you have to trust that whatever I tell you, I don't mean it harsh, because even when I'm in the studio, I say what I feel. I don't filter. I don't like the song, I tell you, I'm not feeling it. So if you take it in a wrong way, we might not go anywhere. If you're like, okay, this guy is coming from a good place, you'll actually go back and be like, okay, maybe let's try a different song, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, when you look at talent, you can identify quickly. Like you're a spot talent, rather.
I'd say that. Yeah, I have a good ear for talent, and I'd say talent is not really just about singing, because if they're singing, when there are people who can sing, I have people who can sing. You have to look at, these guys can sing. Are they open? Are they flexible? Can you open them to? Can they be able to learn dancing? Can they be able to do this type of thing? Because
like a Beyonce.
Exactly, you have to be, other than being a an interview. Someone like Diamond, you know, but on stage, you are sold.
Yeah.
You won't even, you stop paying attention
right.
to if he's singing well or not. Right?
You're just like,
you're like,
amazed.
hey, this guy has brought 50 people on stage. He was dancing. He will leave you with that thought. So you have to be able to kind of like spot someone and know if they're able to bend to all these things.
Right.
How to be shaped to, maybe let me not say bend, to be shaped to become,
like,
you know,
the person they're
the
supposed
person
to
that
be.
they're supposed
all
to
right.
be. Yeah.
Trevor, we have come to the conclusion of this conversation, and thank you so much for being here. Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, we love seeing, you know, wins like this, especially from our own soil. So thank you so much. And thank you, our viewers, for watching. We appreciate you tuning into Morning Vibe Spotlight Thursday. And today I want us to end the show a bit different because you were supposed to sing. So I want him to, you know, end the show. I want to tell you bye, and then I want to let him sing whichever song he picks, and then we'll see you again next week or Friday night for that matter. So thank you so much for watching. Trevor, sing before we end the show.
Let me sing one of my favorite songs from BN. It's called A Student. Mama, I don't want to be an A student. Working for the B students. Kwa company of C students. On the land of the D students. Oh mama, na ma E students. Uku inje wanatesa na ma Benz. You know the end justifies the means.
Awesome.
That's what I'll leave you guys with.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. See you again next week. Thank you. That was fun.